Welcome to the No Plays Off podcast. It's Friday again. You know what that means. Football Friday. Had a little hiatus
That's
going
right.
on. We had some snow days. We had some snow yays. We had all kinds of snow. Listen, there was snow in the NFL. So we're
Yeah,
keeping
there
up
was
with it. How
snow
you
in the
doing,
NFL.
Alex?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. How about yourself, man? You've been missing it? You've been missing us? What's going on?
I'm in a better mood than you. I guarantee you that. I know I'm in a better
Yeah,
mood than you. So
tough
let's
weekend in the
let's just
NFL.
let's just jump right into it, man. Listen, we had some big playoff games where wild
Yeah.
card weekend is over with. You know, it was football Monday, Martin Luther King football Monday. So let's start with the Saturday game, all right? The best game by a playoff rookie in the history of the NFL, Texans Browns. What'd you see?
Yeah, Texans Browns. What a game. Hey, listen, I think we kind of knew what we were going to get with the Browns. It was either going to be like feast or famine. Joe Flacco throws a couple picks. That's what it is for Cleveland. That's where we're at. And CJ Stroud, man, let me tell you something. How did the Houston Texans save their franchise by missing the number one pick?
I don't know that they did because they might have taken Stroud anyway. I just like that there's something poetic about, hey, Deshaun Watson left. He didn't want to play there anymore. And guess what? It took him a year to get the savior. All right. And you don't
That's
want
right.
those Deshaun Watson problems anymore. So that works perfectly fine. CJ Stroud, I had doubts coming out. He had a terrible Wonderlic test. Doesn't matter. All the dude does is throw touchdowns and win games.
Yeah, very little weapons on the outside, like Nico Collins. I think his best receiver's hurt, and Tank Dell. Hey, listen, it doesn't matter. They're just playing football. They're too young to know they're not supposed to win, and just keep it rolling.
Yeah, that's listen, they are. They're young and dumb and full of playoff potential. Okay? So now
Hey,
we're going
it's
to get
gonna
into predictions.
really quick. It's gonna be a fun award ceremony when Kevin Stefanski's getting the NFL Coach of the Year, and D'Amico Ryans is watching it after just obliterating him in the playoffs. Right?
Yeah, maybe. D'Amico might have went ahead
Yeah,
and well, I don't know. Because you know what? If you put CJ Stroud on the Browns, he's crushing it. So I don't know how
yeah.
much coaching had to do with it. You gonna give a defensive coach like, oh yeah, props for CJ Stroud? No, that's get out of here with that nonsense. Another surprise to your delight. Let's talk about some good stuff going on in your life before the terribleness drops. Cry Eagles cry.
I had the shirt last year. I continue to wear it this year. It was definitely on in the middle of the game, watching the Philadelphia Eagles. Hey, listen, Baker Mayfield, I think we talked about it before even the game went off. I was like, hey, as a Dallas fan, I'd give Dak for Baker in a first round pick or two. You know what I mean? Like, I got no problems with that. Bold take, but I'm just saying it right now.
Yeah, you'd be giving up the first round pick. Okay, it'd be Dak and a
That's
first round pick for Baker Mayfield.
absolutely not. You know better. Hey, but
You
listen,
no, not at all. Not at all. The way he's playing, listen, he plays with a certain swagger to him. You can tell he was the first
yeah.
round pick. He should not have been the first pick in that draft. The best quarterback of that draft is Josh Allen, but I digress.
Hey, listen, Philadelphia is a complete mess. Now, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles and your season ended in this 6-7 game skid, Nick Sirianni looks like he completely lost the locker room. AJ Brown's deleting Twitter accounts, X accounts, whatever you want to call them. Hey, that franchise right now, I love it as a Cowboys fan, but Philadelphia will fix it quick. They'll do what they got to do.
Yeah, it's wild. I understand that like they had a tough go. Both their coordinators are gone. I get that.
Yeah,
But at some point, you just have to they started off 10-1 and finished the
yeah,
season. They limped into the playoffs and now they're limping to Cancun. So good for the
crazy.
Buccaneers. We're going to be talking about who they're playing. Awesome job by Baker. Awesome job by that team going up to Detroit now. Kansas City, Miami. Okay. I cannot think of a overhyped situation than Miami. Number one AFC team going into the last week of the season, lost the number 2 seed, lost the AFC East, lost in the first round of the playoffs, lost a home game. And KC just does what KC. Hey, playoff KC is different. Playoff Pat is just different.
Yeah, playoff Pat is different. Listen, I said it last year. There's never been a better coach quarterback combination than Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. And listen, all of a sudden, game one of the playoffs, they find their number one receiver. Really, like that doesn't just happen by magic, right? And so Kansas City is Kansas City. They did Kansas City things. Plus, it's negative 20 out there. Those guys in Miami, they're not ready for that. I think I saw Tyreek Hill get just chopped at the line of scrimmage multiple occasions, and I think there's even like a viral video of him just getting smashed the line of scrimmage. It's super funny. But listen, Miami's not built for that. Good year though.
Yeah, Kansas City. Listen, they got to get Patrick Mahomes a new helmet, but it's a small price to pay to move on. And you know what?
Small price.
They better test these helmets for cold weather again because they're coming to Buffalo, and we get
not quite.
Somebody mentioned, is Mahomes Allen is this the new Manning Brady thing we got going on? And they're not wrong. It is absolutely that. And we'll cover that in a minute. Big props to Kansas City. Miami has to rethink some things. I think Mike McDaniels is doing, he is one of the most overhyped coaches in the league. And let me finish because I know that's your boy. You love him, but he is Mike McCarthy without the hype. He is a Mike McCarthy. If Mike McCarthy had swagger, he'd be Mike McDaniels. Just doesn't win in the playoffs. He's 0 for 2, and I would argue he probably had the better team both years.
Listen, I don't know that they had the better team against Kansas City. Kansas City's defense is legit. Miami is not a cold weather offensive team. They need to have footing. They go by speed. If you slow them down just that much, it changes the entirety of their football game. And so, look, Mike McDaniels, props to him. What I think is even worse is I think Miami has to really look at that delicate Tua situation that they have at quarterback and figure out, okay, is this a long-term solution? And can we win playoff football with Tua? Because I'm not sure that that's something they'll be able to do. I'm not saying that I don't know another team that has that problem, but I think Miami has that problem.
Yeah, I'm just tired of hearing about Mike McDaniel's run game genius. Teams were able to run on Kansas City the last 4 weeks of the season. Everybody ran on Kansas City. And you know what? In cold weather, they should have been able to run on Kansas City too. But when you have Tua, I don't know, maybe he should have thrown right-handed. But one place they didn't have to worry about weather was Detroit, despite what reporters are trying to throw at Brian Flores, right? Hey, are you getting your team ready for cold weather? You know we play indoor, right? Like that's I don't know what podcast sent her, but the showdown between the Rams and Lions was epic. It was a great game. It was fantastic. Stafford going back home. Goff, a revenge game. And I'll say this. There were a lot of blown calls. I'm not putting this on the officials. At some point, you just have to kind of know we're beating the other team and taking it out of the hands of the officials. Puka Nacua is a stud. Stafford's fine. McVay is going to come back from this. They still have a little bit of that Super Bowl hangover from a couple years back.
No, you know what? I love this game. To me, it was my favorite game of the weekend. I love the Detroit-LA story. I love the Goff Stafford story. I love the contrast in Sean McVay and Dan Campbell as coaches, right? One offensive genius, one just smash mouth football, kind of energetic. You know what I mean? Just completely different in their styles. And the game played out that way. Look, Detroit, props to them. Again, I'm with you. Don't blame this stuff on the refs. It's playoff football. Go out and win the game. Detroit did that. Happy for Jared Goff.
Yeah. Yeah, two former number one picks in Goff and Baker coming through and getting a win in the playoff with a new team.
I love that.
It just goes to show you, if you burn out somewhere, if Tua does end up somewhere else, if I don't know, maybe it gives Zach Wilson hope. Probably not, but still, you never know. Let's go on to my team. Your Buffalo Bills, led by Captain America.
Your Buffalo Bills.
Captain America, a.k.a. Superman, on America's true team, the Buffalo Bills. Red, white, and blue. Josh Allen, bumbling, stumbling, fumbling, 53 yards. He's got a turnover problem, right? Playoff Josh is built different. Took care of business. It was a feisty Steelers team. It was a well-coached Steelers team. Go ahead, talk crap about Josh now.
It was a hurt Steelers team. No T.J. Watt. Mason Rudolph playing
Bills
quarterback.
weren't hurt at all. You're right. You're right.
What I'm saying, the Bills weren't missing T.J. Watt. Okay, let's just put it there, right? Number one. Now, do I think the Bills would have won if T.J. Watt played? Absolutely, man. And kudos to Josh Allen. As a matter of fact, I sent you after the game. I said, listen, I guess Josh is number 3, like solidified at number 3. It's Patrick, Joe, Josh. That's where it is. That's the quarterback rankings in the NFL right now. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. I had Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, then Joe Burrow. So Josh Allen, he jumps Joe Burrow. You should be happy. I'm giving him his due. That's where it is.
I cannot wait until the end of season awards when you go back over your re-rankings and all you're going to do is be like, this guy won the Super Bowl. He's 1. This guy lost the Super Bowl. He's 2. This guy lost in the AFC Championship. He's 4 because that's Josh Allen. Number 3, that's what you're going to do. We both know it. Mad respect.
I want you to think about it. I want you to think about it. Listen, I know you like to joke about it. You like to laugh at what I'm saying. But Patrick Mahomes is inarguably the best quarterback in the NFL. Lamar Jackson it's not. Lamar Jackson, I would say, does a little more everywhere than Josh Allen does. I got to put him at number 2 and pay the due. Now, Josh Allen at number 3, that's not like you're getting the little piece of the pie. That's still a huge piece of the pie. You're 3rd best in the NFL. You should be happy with that. I'd like to see you celebrate your quarterback being the 3rd best quarterback in the NFL, and you refuse to do it.
He's there, man. I got him. All right. He's staring at the Nuggets. Okay. He's staring at the Nuggets right now. Okay. But let me tell you, the Josh Allen disrespect I heard all year does not equivocate to you 2 sentences and 1 text message saying, yeah, I guess he's 3rd best this year. Yeah, I guess. Whatever.
There's nothing
this
wrong
with
this.
Could be a team of destiny. You know what?
I will say
there's nothing wrong with 3.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Except for
maybe the Bills get their first Super Bowl this year. Maybe. You'd be ecstatic. I'd be happy for you.
Oh, I'd come on the show shirtless. Like there'd be no containing me. That's it. I would just be walking around slapping people saying, "Hey, did you know the Bills won a Super Bowl?" That's all I do, which would get me in a lot of trouble because I'm a teacher. So probably couldn't do that, but I'd still try to do it anyway. Now, from the highs of the Bills winning their game to the lowest of lows, Dallas Green Bay. Go ahead. You give no love to Jordan Love, and in the end, he breaks your heart.
Yeah, we were gotten by Jordan Love. Hey, listen, here's what I'll say. I don't think it's a Jordan Love thing. I think Dallas came into this football game unprepared to play playoff football. And I don't understand, as a Cowboys fan, when I started to watch this game and I saw the first drive, I said, I don't understand how we go from having the 5th best defense in the NFL. I don't know where it ended at. The first number 1 rated offense in the NFL. I'm glorifying the head coach. At one point said he's got to be a top 3 head coach. And to come out in the playoffs and lay a flat tire the way that they did, it is inexcusable. I will say this, okay? Mike McCarthy has to go. It's over in Dallas. He has to go. You cannot keep this coach after having the playoff stretch that he's had. It's got to be over. It's got to be done. The playoff blunders have to end. There are too many good coaches out there, Jim Harbaugh, that Dallas needs to bring in and really right the ship. You're not going to be able to get rid of Dak Prescott, that contract, $57 million. And I don't know, as a Cowboys fan, that Jerry Jones gets rid of Mike McCarthy. What I'm saying now, as a Cowboys fan, I am calling for Mike McCarthy to lose his job, and all Cowboys fans need to stand up and say it. Tony Pollard, shame on you for the year that you had this year. CeeDee Lamb, Dak, shame on you for the playoff game. What was going on? Why are y'all whispering at each other and arguing on TV? What is going on? Micah Parsons, 1 tackle. 2 pressures, shame on you, because you said you were going to play well. You even wore the Bobby Boucher shirt. Guess what? Mama said Micah sucked at football on Sunday. That's exactly what happened. it's disastrous. I don't know what's going on. The receivers were open all day long. Deron Bland, all right, 8 interceptions to have nothing. Stephon Gilmore getting burnt every route that I saw. Listen, I'm completely over it as a Cowboys fan. Changes have to happen this offseason.
I just want to take you inside the psyche of one Alex Gullett. With less than a month ago, it was we have a top 3 head coach. We have maybe the second best quarterback in football. Okay. We have a top 3 wide receiver. He might be one. He might be better than Tyreek. Tell me he's not better than Tyreek, Paul. Okay. We had, hey, they're going to win the NFC East. I don't care that they lost. I don't care that they look how good they looked against the Commanders. What? Listen, this Dallas team, it's different. They're the best, blah, 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 blah. And I told you, give it a month. Give it a month. They're going to finish 12-5. You're going to be saying, I'm pissed. I'm done with this team. I'm going to Madden. I'm trading everybody. I'm firing the coach. I'm done with it. Why do you do this every year? Hi, Pete. This is my friend Repeat. Okay.
It's
you
like,
are the
listen,
same broken record.
Listen, it's like being born to parents, okay? You don't get to pick your parents. You don't get to pick your brothers and sisters. It's not something
Who
you can
else would
do.
you be born to?
I did not pick the Dallas Cowboys. I was born into this by my father. It's where I am. It's who I am. And before I can remember, I was rooting for the Dallas Cowboys. That's what exactly it's like. It's like being born. You don't pick your parents. That's how I am in the Cowboys. And listen, you can make fun of me, and I know I am a whirlwind when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. I am a creature of the moment. It is a very bad habit when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. I am spent right now. You know, like when you tell somebody like they've been at work all day, they come on, oh man, I'm spent. I am effing spent right now. I am burnt out on the Dallas Cowboys. I almost picked a new team. I almost did.
Yes.
I was like, who else can I root for?
You did.
Did I pick a new team? Who's my new team?
I am no longer a Cowboys fan. I'm a Chiefs fan. Go Chiefs. Go Patrick Mahomes. You got to understand how pissed that made me. And I was like, I'm not even going to say nothing to this. This dude, nope, I'm not going to say anything. Dak has a turnover problem. Yeah, it's time. It's time.
Hey,
and they won't start over. They won't. They gave Jason Garrett 9 years. They gave Bills Parcells, I think, 3 years, and it didn't look great. This is a team that gave Dave Campo a year. Okay, they gave Chan Gailey a couple years. They gave Wade Phillips when they knew he wanted Jason Garrett.
Look, you're exactly right. You're not wrong. You are absolutely right. I hate even saying that to you, but as a Cowboys fan in this front, when it comes to Jerry Jones making a change at quarterback, a change at coach, it doesn't happen in Dallas. I mean, we started Quincy Carter for 5 years. You call it what you want to call it. This is the Dallas Cowboys, right? The fix-all was Drew Bledsoe. Let's get out of town. What are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, just craziness. I hope that Jerry, you're in your 80s. You don't, and I'm not saying anything bad. I don't know how much time you have left. You want to see a Super Bowl? You need to make changes. And that includes making changes about who GMs this team. We need a GM, we need a coach, and we need an offensive coordinator. That's what we need. Let's make it happen. Come on, Dallas fans, shout it out, man. You got to scream it for it to happen. I am a mess right now. I am a mess right now.
Real quick, before we get into predictions, playoff predictions, if you could have any coach and quarterback, realistically, Patrick Mahomes ain't coming there. Any coach and new quarterback combo for next year, who would you pick and why?
If I had to pick coach right now, Jim Harbaugh would be my first pick with who's available right now. I would like Jim Harbaugh. He wins at every level. We've seen it. Don't hire him, Atlanta. He's going to be bad for y'all's franchise. We need him in Dallas. And so I would say quarterback. Listen, it's not like I don't believe in Dak. I don't believe in the leadership of the team. And I think Jim Harbaugh could change that, right? And so I would say give me Jim. We got Dak. Let's keep it where it is. There's not a better option in the NFL right now that's going to be available to Dallas. It's just not there. Not this offseason.
All right.
Let's run it with Jim.
Maybe Jim JJ. Maybe a Jim JJ connection. Never know.
No, if we could
Round
trade up,
two,
I'd say like trade up to 10 and get Jaden Daniels. Let's make a move in the draft. Let's do it.
he's not going to be there at 10. You're going to have to get up to like
Yeah.
3, 4, 5. So listen, while there is one Texas team still in the playoffs, let's get into playoff predictions. This is, again, your divisional round predictions brought to you by No Plays Off Podcast. Texans at Ravens. Who you got winning and why?
Give me the Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson's done too much, and we just got done talking about the Harbaugh. That's another Harbaugh there. Give me the Ravens.
Yeah, I think the Ravens win. Being at home, again, Texans were too young to know that they should have lost. The Ravens know they have to win. And Lamar, this is a legacy game. If he loses this game, people are going to start chirping. Lamar can't win in the playoffs. Next one, we got Packers at Niners. What do you see there?
Hey, listen, give me the Niners. This is divisional playoffs now. This isn't the wild card weekend. This is where the juggernauts are playing. The Niners, they should handle the Packers easily. I don't even think it's that close of a game. Give me the Niners.
Yeah, this is similar to the previous game. I look to see Brock Purdy have a huge game, have a statement win to further credit himself as, hey, I'm not just an also ran quarterback. I'm not just a system quarterback. I can do this at a high level. Niners win probably by 2 touchdowns. Staying in the NFC, Buccaneers travel to Detroit, who has now got their first playoff win in 37 years. What do you see with this game?
Yeah, actually, and this one's going to surprise you a little bit. I like the Buccaneers against the Lions. I like what Baker Mayfield's doing. They're throwing the ball all over the field. Mike Evans had a couple drops that could have made that game even worse for Philadelphia. I don't think he has those drops again. Give me the Buccaneers. I love what their defense is doing.
Yeah, defense is frisky. Give me the Lions at home to continue the streak. I think their run game is going to get something started against this Buccaneers team. And Amon-Ra St. Brown comes up huge in this game, a battle of former number 1 picks. So I like the Lions. And finally, the modern version of Manning versus Brady. We have the Chiefs coming to Buffalo. This is Patrick Mahomes' first game other than a Super Bowl away from home in the playoffs. Who do you got winning?
Yeah, I don't think it matters for Mahomes. He has played multiple Super Bowls. They're always neutral field. He can go to Buffalo. It's not like he's never been there before. Listen, I still got to go Buffalo. I think they're the hottest team in the NFL right now. They've been playing playoff football for 7 weeks now, and Josh Allen keeps making it happen. I think Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, but Buffalo's got legit weapons. I love what James Cooks is doing. Stephon Diggs showed up again last week. Kincaid looks good. Give me Buffalo Bills in this one.
I think this is a ridiculously high-scoring game. I think it's 31-30. I think the Chiefs' defense is just it looks fantastic. I understand. I said it's still a high-scoring game. Josh Allen's going to have to be Superman, and I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. But I'm still going Bills. Tyler Bass is going to kick the game-winning field goal. Listen, NFL Karma, you owe us several, okay? One of these has to go the right way for Buffalo. A field goal has to go the right way for Buffalo at some point, and he kicks it with 13 seconds left.
What we do know is that his name is not Norwood. We're talking Tyler Bass right now. Listen, the kick should go through the uprights.
He missed 2 last week and drove me crazy making it a game. So there you have it. We'll see what happens. Now, all these guys are still coaching, and we just saw the Bills' nemesis for years. The New England Patriots just made a coaching change. You know, it was a wild coaching weekend. We saw Pete Carroll step aside. We saw Bill Belichick move on. We saw Nick Saban retire and walk off to the sunset. Patriots have already made their hire, making Gerard Mayo the youngest head coach in the NFL at 37 years old. He had in that his contract, he was a coach in waiting. It was just a matter of time. Sung Bill Belichick's praises, but there's 7 other spots right now that are wide open. So let's do some predictions to end the episode. Starting with Las Vegas Raiders. What do you think? Who do they get and why?
I think it has to be Antonio Pierce. Here's why. I think the team believes in him. They're committed to him. We've already heard Max Crosby come out and say, if Antonio's gone, I'm gone also. And so I don't think that Las Vegas has a choice here. And Antonio Pierce, they played hard for him. They looked a lot better those last few games than they did with Josh McDaniels. Give me Antonio Pierce in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I'm going to go Pierce for a different reason. Okay. The Las Vegas Raiders are still paying John Gruden. The Las Vegas Raiders are still paying Josh McDaniels. I hate to say it this way. Las Vegas Raiders are cheap. They are cash poor. This isn't the LA Rams. Okay. They don't have money coming out of everywhere. And when in doubt, we saw Dan Campbell worked in Detroit. His players believed in him. Sometimes it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes. And the Jimmies and the Joes in Vegas want Pierce. Bring Pierce back, give him a shot.
You have to. I think you have to bring Pierce there.
Tennessee Titans. They said goodbye to Mike Vrabel, moving in a different direction. What is that direction?
That is a tough one. I think there's a couple good candidates that are out there for the Tennessee Titans. Listen, I think everybody right now, you're going to be looking at the Harbaughs and stuff like that. But I think Tennessee's got to go a different direction. I think it's got to be somebody with some youth. You got a young quarterback out there, and Will Levis. You're trying to change up the culture a little bit. There's a couple guys that I really like here that have flown a little under the radar. Hey, look, Aaron Glenn. Out in Detroit, the defensive coordinator. I think he would be a great fit for the Tennessee Titans. Not sure they go there. But yeah, I don't know. Tennessee's going to be very interesting to me.
Yeah, listen, you're right. The most important player right now in Tennessee is Will Levis, a.k.a. Billy Jeans himself, right? So I think what they do is tap another Detroit assistant, not Aaron Glenn, but Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson comes in. They try to fix the offense. They continue to go with it. They have a decent pick in the draft. They have some offensive line problems, but I think the AFC South is going to be so interesting going forward. You have Trevor Lawrence, who needs a bounce back year. You have Billy Jeans himself, Will Levis, right, who's showed a lot of promise. CJ Stroud, and then you have Anthony Richardson coming back. So I think you're going to have to put points up. You're going to have to put points up. Carolina Panthers, though, I don't see the bright end at the end of the tunnel for them. Where do they end up going?
Well, listen, before we move off of Tennessee, I don't want to throw this name out there because I think he'd be a good fit in Tennessee also. And I don't want to walk over him. We just talked about the Rams. Look, Raheem Morris. He's done a lot of good things. And so Tennessee's known for their smash mouth defense. He could bring another that. And players love to play for him. I just don't want to sleep over Tennessee with Raheem Morris yet.
Okay. All right. Tennessee, Raheem Morris. Where do you think Carolina ends up?
Yeah, Carolina, I got two guys that I'm really thinking about in Carolina. One is for the young quarterback, Bryce Young. The other one's really to keep he just does amazing things, right? So Ben Johnson, of course, the Detroit offensive coordinator you just spoke about in Tennessee, I think it'd be a great fit with Bryce Young. But there's a guy there, Mike McDonald, okay, who has done amazing things in Michigan and different places. Like, I think he'd be a great fit. I think that's where they end up going.
Great singer too, Mike McDonald, right?
Yeah,
that's Michael McDonald, right?
Yeah, it's Michael.
Love it. Listen, I don't know where Carolina needs a stabilizing factor. You mentioned the name that I had. Raheem Morris is a stabilizing factor. It also wouldn't shock me if Brian Flores actually got the job. I think Carolina needs an adult I think Carolina needs an adult in the room. They tried to go flashy with Frank Reich. I think they just need a stabilizing factor and to understand next year's going to struggle. They're going to struggle next year too. They don't have a first round pick. They don't have many offensive weapons. They need somebody in there who's going to hold people accountable and fire them up. And that's probably Brian Flores. So I'm going to go Brian Flores here.
Yep.
Carolina Panthers. Again, another guy that we saw leave, Rowboat Ron Rivera. See you later. Washington Commanders have an open position. Who do you think takes that job?
Give it to Bieniemy. No. Listen. I think with the Washington Commanders, I know there's so many rumors with Bill Belichick and Washington. I don't think that's where they go. I think Washington has a few guys. Again, I said Ben Johnson or Mike McDonald. I like Mike McDonald more in Carolina. I think Ben Johnson's a great fit in Washington with what they have going on with Sam Howell. They got a great draft pick coming up, number draft pick coming up. Could go quarterback there. Don't know where they're going to go. But listen, there's a couple guys there. Frank Smith, I think, is another name that's out there. But if I had to put my hand on it for Washington, give me Ben Johnson.
I like that. I'm going to go offense as well. I'm going to go to the guy in Houston who is coaching the number 2 pick because Washington has the number 2 pick. So I'm going to go Bobby Slowick. Okay, Bobby Slowick. I think he's on that Kyle Shanahan coaching tree that has produced some decent head coaches,
Yeah.
especially guys who are able to kind of fold young guys into the league, walk them up, coach them up. Whether that's Sam Howell, probably not. Whether that's Jaden Daniels, Drake May, whoever they manage to get at the number 2 pick. So I'm going to go Bobby Slowick becomes the man there. I would have liked to see Eric Bieniemy get the job, uh, but I can also see Eric Bieniemy sticking around and saying, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe he goes back to Kansas City. Maybe he moves on somewhere else. Maybe, but I think he is a good coach that manages to get the best out of his players. I don't think anybody at the beginning of the year would have said Sam Howell would have a decent year. So that's where I'm going. Seattle Seahawks. Who do the Seahawks hire to take the mantle from Pete Carroll?
To me, this is easier than the New England Patriots job, which would guess correctly with Gerard Mayo. This is Dan Quinn. There's no other way for it to be, right? It's got to be Dan Quinn. He's the successor. You kind of saw in that playoff game, I think Dan Quinn's been done. I think he's done in Dallas. I think he goes off, rides off to the sunset in Seattle, takes over for Pete Carroll. Match made in heaven.
Yeah, so I've thought about this a lot. I've thought about this a great deal, and I think it's Dan Quinn too. Listen, he got a shot in Atlanta, didn't work out. He's from Seattle. He knows Seattle. I think that still gives you a little tie to the previous administration, the Super Bowl winning time, but also looks forward. I think Dan Quinn has probably learned a lot since his last coaching stint. So I think Dan Quinn is the biggest kept secret that everybody knows is going to happen. He's going to be in
Yeah.
Seattle, but it wouldn't shock me if this was a Belichick destination. I think this could be a Belichick destination.
I don't think Belichick follows Pete Carroll. I don't think that happens.
I think it could happen. I think it could happen. I just don't know. I don't know where he ends up. Atlanta Falcons. Is this where Bill Belichick ends up?
Yeah, I think he's the favorite here, right? Bill Belichick's the favorite in Atlanta. I know he said he wanted a project team that had talent that, hey, but it still needs to be fixed a little bit. That sounds like the Cowboys or the Atlanta Falcons. I'd rather him pick Atlanta. Also, I think a sleeper here is Mike Vrabel, though. Give me a sleeper pick on Mike Vrabel for the Atlanta Falcons.
I think it's Jim Harbaugh here. I think Harbaugh's going to pick the Falcons. I think he's going to go to Atlanta. I think he's going to manage to find a middling quarterback, somebody like Kirk Cousins, coach them up. If you're talking about which NFL team resembles Michigan, who has multiple running backs, who has athletic tight ends, who has multiple wide receivers that are big game threats, that's Atlanta. And it's a winnable division. So I think Harbaugh is going to look at it and say, I've never shied away from the NFC here. I want to go where there isn't Patrick Mahomes. So I don't want to go to the Chargers. I'll go to Atlanta. I'll either pick my guy, I'll bring JJ in to be my quarterback and move on from Desmond Ritter, or I'll just, I'll convince Kirk Cousins or somebody else to come out. So that's where I have Harbaugh landing.
You may not be wrong.
And the last one, the LA Chargers. Who do you have in LA?
Who knows, right? It's the Chargers. They go from Staley to nobody. They may promote Kellen Moore. They may who knows what LA's doing. I think Harbaugh goes to LA. That's where I think Harbaugh lands. Listen, you're not going to get bigger football town than LA. You're not going to get more coverage than LA. You're not going to get more media deals than LA. This is where Harbaugh ends up. Way to come back to the NFL. Back to LA. You already have Justin Herbert. You got receivers. You've got some studs on defense that just didn't put it together. That's a team that I think Jim Harbaugh turns around very quickly. I like the Chargers here.
So Belichick said he wanted a project. There is no bigger project in football right now than the LA Chargers. They are in
true.
NFL cap salary hell. they are going to have to make a real decision on whether or not they're going to keep their best receiver in Keenan Allen. He's a $30+ million cap hit. You have Khalil Mack, who had a decent year as a huge cap hit. Joey Bosa. I think Bill comes in, trims a little bit of the fat, and says, I've never been afraid to let people go and figure it out on the defensive end. And then I think he brings in somebody on offense, somebody like Josh McDaniels, who already hates the Raiders, who hates Denver, and says, I have a blood oath against these franchises. And I cannot think of a better coach to try and throw some wrinkles into the mix for Patrick Mahomes than Bill Belichick.
Okay, before we end, and I like that pick, Belichick, whatever. Here's what's going to happen. Buffalo loses this weekend to Kansas City. Is Coach McD done? Does he have to go? And if he's done, who are you picking as a replacement for Buffalo?
No, I'm bringing Sean McDermott back. I think instead I'm bringing in a
overrated coach in the NFL. Most overrated coach in the NFL, Sean McDermott.
Mike McCarthy is most overrated. 36 wins in a year. Let me tell you something about Dallas. Dallas, the last 29 years with Dallas, okay? They've had the best winning percentage in all of major sports, and they have no playoff success. Who's overrated?
Buffalo has none ever. Buffalo has none ever.
They have playoff
Buffalo
success.
has none ever.
Never won a Super Bowl. They won championships. They just never won a Super Bowl.
Okay, so here's my next question, because we already know that McDermott's the most overrated coach in the NFL. Here's the next question. Dallas Cowboys.
McDermott or McCarthy? Who's more overrated?
McCarthy's not overrated today. He was last week, not today.
Christ,
okay,
get out of here.
Be real. Dallas fires McCarthy tomorrow. Which coach on the market right now are you saying that's the guy to fix the Cowboys with Dak at quarterback?
The guy that I left off the list, Mike Vrabel. I think Mike Vrabel comes in here. I think with Dallas, it's not about offensive innovation. It's not about defensive innovation. I think it's about accountability. Mike McCarthy in Green Bay and in Dallas never held players accountable. Never held them accountable.
Never.
It was always, hey, the coordinators were rough. We're going to run a Texas Coast offense this year. Hey, the defense, that's not really – I'm going to call the offense. I think Mike Vrabel will come in there and he'd knock some heads around. I think he's a project as a coach. I think it would take a year, and it might be a little step back, but I think it would 2-3 steps forwards. Are you going to go Harbaugh here?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know who, right? If I had to pick a choice, if I got any option, I would say, please give us Harbaugh. I don't know that happens. But Vrabel didn't cross my mind because I'm like, well, to me, Vrabel doesn't have enough innovation that, and we saw it in Tennessee, to really keep up with the new minds of the NFL. I don't think that he could do it, and I don't want that for Dallas. So while I appreciate your comment, I don't know that you are correct.
Listen, I think ultimately a head coach needs to be a manager. Okay? I think he needs to be the ultimate manager of the team. I think Vrabel, again, it would take a little step back. I understand that. I just think for the next 5 years, who do I want coaching a team? I probably want Vrabel over Harbaugh. Harbaugh has a tendency. He has 3 awesome years and then pisses everyone off. Vrabel, I know, is going to be steady. I think the ownership group in Tennessee made a huge mistake letting him go. I think he can be a great young coach.
Love to hear it.
But we'll see.
See.
It's a big weekend for the NFL. It's going to be a big weekend for me. It's going to be a big weekend for you, Alex. And for you guys at home, let us know what you think. Let us know what we got right or wrong. We'll be here again every Football Friday talking NFL, moving toward the Super Bowl, toward the offseason, because we're taking no plays off.